Welcome back to episode 26 of Blurred Summits. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about investing fundamentals. Why should we invest? What is interest? And some simple ways to get started in investing.
Let's do it.
So, Hudson, what is investing?
So investing is basically putting your money, time, effort into something to get additional value in the future.
Right.
So sort of like, we'll say like simple ones with stocks, you put your money in at value X, you pull it out at value Y, make a profit that way.
Yeah.
It could be with like a business where you open a business, which you're investing in yourself at that point, make money through your business. Or with school, you buying a new laptop. So then you can excel in school, right?
So why should we invest?
Well, we should invest because you need to set yourself up for down the line, right? It's basically betting on hedging things now so then you can have it success, greater value of money down the line.
Yeah, definitely.
So some of the basics with that stuff is, you put your money in today, you get more money in the future. So the benefit of any investment is what's known as a return.
Yeah.
Sometimes monetary, sometimes not. Could be like when you're learning some new things.
Yeah.
Reading a book even.
Yeah, like
You're investing your time into reading a book, and then the return is you learning new things.
Yeah. And those new things can have multiplied returns in the future, right? Like investing isn't kind of just the common term where we think about it just like money.
Yeah,
right?
everyone thinks it's stocks and
everyone
things
just
like
thinks
that.
investing, you think of stock market, but you can just invest in yourself, right?
Yep.
If you buy some books and you read those books, now you have some knowledge that maybe is going to get you higher returns than the stock market can. You know what I'm saying?
It's less objective in that. It's a bit more subjective when you're investing in yourself, but it's the exact same theory. And I think people need to realize that because they put too much emphasis on, it's all about the money. It's all about the money.
Exactly.
But it's not.
And there's like a million different ways, like even a gym membership. Like if you think about it, if I buy a gym membership,
you're investing your money, but the return is you improving as a person.
Exactly. And you're building yourself up, and this could help with your stress. This could help with your job. This could help with other things that are going to get you multiplied monetary returns, even though it's not immediately monetary.
I think another example too is a car. A car is one where I'll continually go off with my to my deathbed with this one. A car is a terrible investment.
Yeah.
Because you put your money into it, as soon as you leave the lot, it's down 50% in value, right?
Right.
You lose a ton of value in it immediately. So, I mean, sure, everyone does need a car to drive around, get place to place, but I think it's people put too much value in a car as like a proper investment, right? You'll know all these people, it's like, oh no, I'm buying this car. It's going to be worth so much down the line. I can sell it and I won't lose any money on it. But that side of things is not right. Like, sure, you're investing in yourself so then you could drive to a job, you could drive to the gym, do all these other things.
Yeah, and that could be like if you buy a car for its utility, then it is a good investment because it's helping you save that time to get from place to place. You get more done. You can, go to places that you haven't been to before, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but
right?
I think that's what it is. It's looking at it from a different perspective. Because the utility is adding value to you, right? You're saving money in some aspects, vice versa, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But as a point-blank investment opportunity, cars usually aren't the way to go with that.
So answer me this, right? Why shouldn't I just get the money that I'm getting, spend the minimum amount to live a good life, and all of my extra money, just save it as cash, stick it under my mattress because the banks are going to take it, right? Like, why shouldn't I just do that?
So this comes down to what is known as the time value of money. So there's money today is not worth the same as money a year from now. Due to what in most places is known as inflation, which is the prices of things are constantly rising, right? Cars, food, houses, things like that. So your money doesn't go as far over time. So say right now, I think the average interest or average inflation rate, it ranges between 1% to 3%.
Right.
So if you had $100 today, and then from a year from now, that money would now only be able to get you $98 worth of something.
So you lost $2.
Exactly. And
that wasn't because the rats ate it from under your mattress.
That is just because it doesn't go as far.
It just doesn't.
And think about if you had that $100, leave it there for 10 years. There's a calculation to do this, but it'd probably be
Like $90 or something, bro.
Yeah. 90, 85, $90.
Yeah.
You'd be losing 15% of that over 10 years due to a 2%, which seems like nothing in the moment,
Yeah.
inflation rate.
And it just kind of makes sense that why would I, why would I just save the money as cash and it decreases 2% when I could invest it and, worst comes to worst, it stays the same value.
It just
right?
increases with the rate of inflation.
Or it just increases with the rate of inflation. So negative 2% plus 2%, maybe big picture, that's only $1 or $2. But if you got a lot of dollars or twos, you saw a lot of money.
Especially, that was just with $100, right? Think about that with 1,000, 100,000. You're working, I'm just going to leave it. I don't want to put it in anything with an interest rate or anything.
Yeah. What about some people will say, they put it into different things to hold its value. Like they'll buy gold or something like that.
Well, gold it's basically like the stock market at that point, right?
Right.
Where the value of it fluctuates up and down
based
on demand and supply of gold.
Okay.
So technically, if you're holding it for a long time, it's not bad. I actually know a guy that I worked with at one point in time. He was crazy about
gold,
precious metals.
He
was telling me about it. It's like, bro, he's like, all my money, I put it into this. I buy more gold. I go to the bank. I'm like, I want to put more. They're like, why are you doing that? It's like, I just want more gold. I'm like, okay. like I'd sit here. I'd be like, okay.
He's like, the world's
ending. I was nodding.
Bro.
I'm like, what are you? I tried to say anything on either side, and he just disagreed with me. He's like, no, bro, gold's the future. I was like,
gold's the future.
He's like, the stock market's gonna crash. The dollar's gone.
That's funny.
Put it in gold. But
so is there anything that I could, let's just say I don't want my money to increase. I'm just real stubborn. I don't want it to increase, but I don't want it to decrease.
Yeah.
Is there anything out there that I could put in just keeps my money at 0%? No increase, no decrease. It just stays settled. Guaranteed, just staying settled.
High interest savings accounts are what you want to do for something like that.
And okay, so explain those.
So high interest savings account, basically every bank has those. It's usually about, I think, 3 or 4%, depending on how much money you have in there. And they basically the bank basically gives you money for you just leaving your money in the bank.
Okay.
So every year,
that will offset the inflation rate.
Sometimes it'll even go higher than the inflation rate, right?
Okay.
So you're actually getting more money every year just by leaving it in the bank account and not touching it.
Okay.
Sometimes it's tough with those because they don't let you withdraw it within certain periods and fees and things like that, which you just need to be careful of. But if you're thinking of something where I don't want to have to worry about watching it or putting it into like ETFs and things like that, just going to the bank and saying, I want to open a high interest savings account.
Yeah.
They'll gladly do that because banks need money to spend, right? That's basically what you're doing is when you give the bank your money, they're going off and investing it in these other things. And then when you want it, they just give you different money back. It's not the same money.
Yeah.
But that's why they give you the interest.
It's a weird thought that when I go to the bank with my $20 bills and I put them in the bank machine, they're not just keeping it back there in some vault saying, hey, this is Abdul's and it's marked down Abdul's money, right?
Yeah.
They're spending it in all these different places. Yep. And when I come back, it's just a number on a screen.
Yeah.
And when I come back to withdraw it, I'm just minusing that number on the screen and they take some other, scrubs money and giving it to me, right?
Well,
that's a weird thought.
But yeah, that's why if you're really concerned and you don't want to have to do any of these, there is some really good low risk investment things, but if you're looking for the most simple thing, if you're not 18, you're just looking for something just casual, they're usually high interest savings account will not have any fees. And you just leave your money because they're like, they just want some extra capital that they can have sitting there for long periods of times.
Right.
And I know if the longer you commit to some of these ones, they'll give you even better rates.
Okay.
So it's beneficial if you know for sure that you're not going to need the money immediately at any period of time, like next year or two, right?
Yeah.
Just something I want to put it aside just to have it somewhere so it's increasing in value. And I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, or at the very least, it's not.
It's maintaining its value.
Exactly.
It's maintaining its value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, you touched a little bit on interest.
Yeah.
What is interest fundamentally?
So there's kind of two different types of interest. So there's simple interest, and then there's compound interest.
Right.
So simple interest, say you put $100 into, we'll go with the bank example for this one, $100 into the bank, and they say, okay, you have a 5% simple interest rate.
Okay.
So that means every year on that $100 you put in, you get an extra $5 added to your account. So you get a 5% of the initial investment is given to you.
And the bank wants to do this because they want to take that money and use it in other places.
Well, no, like that $5 is them basically saying, paying you for you leaving your money with them. Yeah.
Okay.
So simple interest means you can only earn interest on the initial investment. So the $100 you put in, say you leave it for 5 years, every single year of those 5 years, you get the $5 because it's only counting the money on the initial investment.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Does that
yeah.
make sense?
I'm with you.
Oh yeah, and then so compound interest is where you can earn interest on the interest.
Okay.
So say the $100 example again, 5% interest rate.
Right.
$100 in, first year you get $5. Now you have $105 in your bank account. The next year, the 5% is on that total. The total $105, probably like 505 or something. So it does start slow, like the increase with the interest.
Yeah, but
over time, it's
builds
huge.
up. It's like a snowball down a hill,
Exactly.
right?
I think it was Albert Einstein said compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world, right?
Right.
It's insane that the money you earn can earn more money and earn more money. It's like this big snowball
like a pyramid
effect.
Scheme.
Sure.
But yeah.
But yeah. So kind of an example to show how insane this is. This is called the Manhattan Island example. It was in one of my econ classes that I was taking. Showed how insane it is. So this Manhattan Island was purchased for $24 in 1926. It actually was. So assuming we're in year 2018, that was about 392 years. So if this money was invested instead at a 5% interest rate, with simple interest, it would be worth $494.40 today. Not bad for just leaving your money and sitting there, right?
Right.
But with compound interest at this 5% interest rate, it would be worth $4.86 billion today. Billion.
That's crazy.
That shows how insane compound interest is, right?
So the difference was quite literally a $4 billion difference. It's literally from basically nothing.
Basically almost $5 billion difference.
A $5 billion
That shows that's like the time value of money is what that's called. Like how how the value of money changes over time, right? So roughly, yeah. So if you assumed the interest rate was that 5%, or sorry, not interest rate, the inflation rate over time was 5%, that would basically be saying that $24 back then is worth $4.86 billion today. So that's basically
crazy. They purchased the entire damn island for $24.
Yeah, but it was 1626.
That's crazy. Damn.
That is And then think about it's like, hey, if they just put it, but no one lives that long, right? But that's insane how interest can grow that big, that fast. Or I guess not really that fast.
Yeah.
But this also exemplifies the danger of like credit cards and things like that, right? Lots of people aren't really too sure of the inner workings of credit cards. They just think I need to have one so then I can buy a house, I can buy a car, and things like that, right? So they think, okay, on on my credit card, it says I have to pay a minimum. Most of them are like $10.
Yeah.
Paying the minimum only does make sure that you don't impact your credit score.
Bro, that was, oh my God, when I first got my credit card and I was first looking at the statement, it was like total balance and then minimum payment. It was like $10 minimum payment or whatever. And I was like, wait, so you're telling me, let's say I have a balance of like $1,000. I only need to pay $10 of it. And I kind of glanced over it and, I paid the full amount. Yeah. But then later on, I heard from, it was probably you or somebody like that. And they told me, no, that's not the minimum amount you have to pay. That's
it is the minimum amount you have to pay, it doesn't impact your credit score.
Like that's the minimum amount that you have to pay, so it doesn't impact your credit or like, you don't get in trouble. Yeah. But you still got to pay interest, which is like 23-24%.
And on like $1,000,
you're screwed.
That's like $200.
You're screwed.
Wait, yeah, it is like
right. Yeah. Like that's insane. So like don't ever pay the minimum balance.
Make sure, if you can,
the full amount.
I think another thing with the basics, a credit card, the limit you should never go anywhere near your limit with a credit card. A credit card is there for like what I said before. So you can raise your credit score for a car, house, things like that. To this day, unless I'm buying something online, I use my debit card.
Okay.
Because the only reason, like a credit card, I have it for the reason of saying, hey, look, bank, look, credit lenders, I have a credit card.
Right.
It's basically me waving it in their face saying, look, I put $100 on this a month, so I'm using it, and it's increasing my credit. Everything on a debit card reduces any of the risk of overspending and using money that you don't actually have, right? Because that's what a credit card is. You're spending the bank's money, and then you're paying them back at the end of the month.
Yeah, yeah. And that's something you have to be very, very wary about, is that when you have a credit card, you might think, oh, my paycheck is coming 2 weeks from now, so I will have the money in the future, so I can spend the money now. But you're spending future money.
Yeah.
And that is a problem.
That is very dangerous, because then you start falling behind, right? It's like, oh,
yeah,
I'm spending stuff now, and then it's like in a month, oh, well, I'll get my money. I get my paycheck 2 days before my credit statement's due.
Yeah.
I'll be okay. I'll pay it off right away. But then this is like I said,
That's
you
so
fall
bad.
into a dangerous tailspin with that type of stuff, right? So
yeah, it's like, I know, like, some people, they say, yeah, I got my paycheck the other day, and it all went to paying my credit card. Like, they had already spent their paycheck before they even got their paycheck.
I mean, it's
That's
one
a bad
thing,
strategy, bro.
I think it's one thing where I guess there was time where it's like I'd be spending enough money where a paycheck would cover it, but I was never at a point where I'd be at zero being it's like, okay, I guess I got this paycheck and it pays off my monthly expenses that I was willing to pay for at the time.
24% interest is
dangerous,
absurd.
right? Because I know you have some issues with like the fundamentals of interest. But.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of interest fundamentally. Like, it's so ingrained in the foundations of how, like, the banking system works and how literally life works. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't kind of live without credit.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, like, imagine you're some poor kid who just turned 18, and the bank hits him up and calls him and tells him, hey, buddy, like, we got you this credit card. You can spend $1,000 a month. Right? This kid's thinking, oh, I can spend $1,000 a month and I just have to pay $10. They tell you, and your minimum payment is just $10. I only have to pay $10 back. And this kid that doesn't know anything, because they don't teach you about credit cards in school.
That is my biggest issue with interest in these things, is they don't teach you.
They don't teach you.
I think if they teach you the dangers of interest, I think it's perfectly okay, right? And then because you can use it to your advantage if you're aware of interest and you know what you're doing. Yeah. Because in reality, it's super simple stuff. Like, it is really, really, really simple and straightforward once you get taught it. Yeah. But once you don't get taught, it's this big magic giant thing that you're scared to go look at, right?
And what's crazy is that these banks, these big guys, they have entire departments of people who their sole job is to get people to sign up for their credit cards. Their
usually it's people who don't even know what interest and all that stuff is anyways.
They're targeting, like, that's kind of like the slimy thing about it sometimes, is that they have these groups of people whose job it is to call their clients who just turned 18 and sell them a damn credit card and tell them, like, this is super important.
At university basically say, hey, do this, and they basically start signing you up for a credit card.
Dude, that is so, oh my God. At university,
I did that once, remember that?
Stupid people at those stands, like MasterCard, RBC, whatever, and they stand at those stands and they're like, are super aggressive.
It was BMO,
or BMO or whatever, and they stand at these stands and they're hyper aggressive and they're like dragging these poor first year university kids to their tables and they're signing them up for credit cards without them even, like, really knowing. You know what I'm saying? And this uni kid doesn't even know any better, so he's kind of going along with it, and before he knows, they'll say, oh, and okay, perfect, your credit card will show up in your house in 2 weeks. What the hell? Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Yeah, bro. That's the side of things that gets super slimy, right?
Exactly.
But from like a fundamental perspective, it's basically a way so then your money can keep up with interest. Yeah. Like, from like the bare bones, that should be your goal with interest. Yeah, yeah. But really, then there is some simple ways to then make your money work for you with taking advantage of interest and other kinds of funds. So then your money can grow faster than the rate of inflation, be worth tons of money down the line.
So, Huddy, what is the easiest way to get into investing? I want to invest today. How do I start?
So the way that I'd say advice is mutual funds is probably the best way to go. I know you're more of an index fund kind of guy. They're very similar things, kind of intertwined with one another. But there are many options out there that are cheap, like Wealthsimple.
So, okay, what is a mutual fund?
So a mutual fund is basically a portfolio of stocks, fixed asset, fixed bonds, cash, gold, basically a bunch of different things piled into one big group.
Okay.
So say you put $200 in.
Yeah.
They spread your money out equally, or spread your money out proportionate to some degree based on their calculations across the whole portfolio.
So basically I can diversify my entire portfolio with a small amount of money.
Yes, and you don't have to do the diversification.
Some guy at the bank is doing that for you.
Well, with like the Wealthsimple or Questrade, it's computerized.
It's a computer. Okay.
But they do it so then, it basically protects you from crashes and shocks and things like that. It minimizes the damage of these things happening.
It's not like just investing, throwing all your money into Tesla, and then like Tesla stock
I think GameStop's
right?
probably a better option to that. Whereas people were putting it in at $300, and then it crashed, and then they lose all their money.
Right. So
I think
this is probably
putting it
easier.
into individual stocks is a terrible idea, no matter how good you think you are, because you don't have the time to be looking at stocks 24/7 reading.
For a beginner.
Even most people, unless it's your job. Who has the time to do that?
That is kind of true.
Like,
who's out here reading all these different reports, right?
Like, I know even like my dad, he doesn't even do any of that. Like
yeah.
most of these people, you get someone to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's what they do 8 hours a day. Right?
Yeah. You have someone who that is their actual job, is they invest and they know they're reading, they're watching all these things. They know what they're doing. It's actually educated.
Right.
Because when you're doing it like the day trading side of things, you're not even like it's worse than gambling. There's no odds.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I am going to put this money in it and I hope it goes up.
Yeah. Like I think Warren Buffett was actually the one who said people who tell you that they can predict which stocks are going to go up and which stocks are going to go down are basically psychics, because that doesn't really exist, you know?
Here's a saying that my buddy Kyle and I were at this thing with, it was with some RBC thing.
Yeah.
And they said, it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market.
Hey, there we
so
go.
It's about so anything when it comes down to investing, the big deal is being in it for a long period of time. You're in it for the long run, no matter what. If you're in there to try and quick flip stuff,
you could get lucky.
You could get lucky. But if you want like basically almost, I don't want to say guaranteed success, but it is pretty much guaranteed success.
Yeah.
Is put your money into like these mutual funds and let it sit.
Yeah, your growth is going to be pretty small, but what is compounded growth, right? Like we kind of talked about.
Well, yeah, that's why. And you get dividends, like you get earnings from these companies being paid to you for you being invested into them.
Yeah.
So I think basically what it comes down to is be willing to put money into it at a consistent rate of your choice that you can do and not have to worry about being tight on money.
Yeah.
Over a long period of time, right? Because that's about the time in the market part of thing. Because you can't predict at a low to put your money in or a high, right? So if you just put your money in, I know I do, the first of every month is money in, money in, money in. It's just something, so then it's consistent cash flow in. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll be in at a low, and then your money will be worth a lot more quick.
Yeah, but like, yeah. At least that way you're... Like when you're kind of putting that money away, that money is gone in your eyes, right?
Yeah, that's what it's. I'm not touching it till I'm way older.
Right. Like, so, it's crazy how much it'll be by that time.
Yeah. What was I gonna? There's something. Yeah.
Let's talk about TFSAs, right? So, like, what's a TFSA?
So a TFSA is a tax-free savings account. In the United States, it's kind of similar to what they call a lifetime savings account. So it's tax-free savings. So you don't have to pay taxes on the profits that you make from your investment.
Because when you do invest in the stock market, you need to pay fees.
Yeah.
You need to pay taxes on those things.
I mean, and all these, on your capital gains, you are paying taxes. That's why these people, even the funny one is GameStop.
Yeah.
There's actually multiple different types of, like I think it's called like short-term. There's some short-term tax because they don't want people day trading.
Yeah.
So they get taxed like 30% of their capital gains just from them being in it short-term.
That's crazy.
And they get taxed again. So you lose a lot of money if you're in stuff for the short run and not in a TFSA.
That's crazy.
So yeah,
Jeez.
So TFSAs are good, yeah, because you don't have to pay taxes on your earnings. This is in Canada at least. I'm not exactly sure what it is with the long-term savings account, lifetime savings account, but I know it is pretty similar to that. But the catch with the TFSA is it's not tax deductible. So that means if you're putting money into this, you don't take it off of your income, like off of your income statements with your T4s and things at tax season.
Okay.
So you're still paying tax on the money you made that year, even if you're putting that contribution into your TFSA.
So you're kind of just delaying?
No, this is the one you're paying your taxes on the income that year if you're putting it into a TFSA, but you don't pay interest on your earning, you don't pay taxes on what you make out of it.
Okay. I see what you're saying now.
And then,
I see what you're saying.
The other one is an RRSP, which is a registered retirement savings plan, 401k in the United States.
Yeah.
So this is tax deductible. So that means if you contribute to this, you don't pay taxes on it now.
Okay.
You pay taxes on it when you withdraw it.
And this is a way that you can kind of maybe, if I'm just at the edge of a tax bracket, invest in RSPs, it might put me below.
No, RRSP, it does it. Oh, yeah, RRSP, it does. Yeah, sorry.
Right? So that's kind of how that works.
Yeah. With that one, too, then lots of companies will match what you put into that, too. So you get even more money on top of it because you're investing in retiring.
Right. But you can't pull that out until you're like 65.
I'm not sure the catch on that side of things, but...
It has to be there long term. Like this is retirement stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you can basically pull it out whenever, but the longer you do it, the better, right? Because say you're making 60, 70K a year. You're pulling money out and you're putting money into an RRSP. That can drop you down a whole 2 tax brackets if you really want in the now. So then you're paying way less taxes now.
But do you have to pay the taxes in the future?
Yes. You pay it when you withdraw it.
Okay.
So when you withdraw the money, you do it in the batches, right? So say in a year when you're retired or whatever, you're only pulling out 20K. You might be paying a marginal tax rate of 10% at most on that. Compared to then you'd probably be at 30% tax on that money.
Oh, okay.
So you'd be saving a lot more money by doing it that way.
So you'd be paying less taxes. You're paying taxes either way. It's just when are you paying those taxes?
Yeah. So if you're younger, TFSAs are better because you're not making a lot of money right now. So you want to put your money into a TFSA because you're barely getting taxed.
Right.
So you might as well do that.
So RSPs, is there a limit to how much you can put in?
There is. I think it was... I can't remember what it was. I think it was maybe like a third of your income or half of your income or something like that. But yeah, if you're working like a full-time job, making a decent salary, RRSPs are clearly the way to go because you're taking tax or you're avoiding paying tax now and paying tax in the future. But in the future, that tax is going to be worth technically less because you're not going to be paying it on 70K. You'll be paying it on 20K instead.
Okay.
So these are 2 options. That's basically when do you want to pay your taxes, but you're still investing into the same thing either way, right? Like you'll be doing mutual funds or something like that with that.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to cover in this, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly.
And we'll definitely be doing more episodes about it in the future.
Maybe going a bit more depth into some of the stuff because hopefully avoid people falling into the interest trap and things like that, right?
Right. Yeah. It's definitely like leveraging the systems that are in place for you instead of kind of getting attacked by them.
Yeah, well, I think that's the issue with schools is they don't teach you any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I think they need to teach you money management, taxes, things like that in school. It's absurd that they don't. Honestly.
It is weird that they don't. Or if they do it in an incredibly...
No, you have to take like an accountant. You have to take
way.
the courses that I took in high school.
Yeah. As like option classes.
Yeah, exactly. That should be a mandatory... Like, there's life... Or what are those classes that we
like take? Life skills.
Calm and things like that. It's like these classes that are a waste of time that you're learning stuff that you're never going to use in life. And they don't teach you...
Here's how to make a resume 30 years ago.
And they don't teach you how to do your taxes. They don't teach you how to invest.
Yeah.
They don't teach you anything that you can actually leverage with the system.
So you just end up getting screwed, which is
Exactly.
really
And you have to
unfortunate.
teach yourself. And that's why you're probably against the interest, is because people don't know it. If people knew it, it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, maybe.
People don't realize they're irresponsible. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I think that it needs to, like, there is good things and bad things to everything. And so it's a matter of leveraging the good and denying the bad, right?
Or avoiding it.
Or avoiding the bad. So, yeah. Anyways, to summarize today's episode, we spoke about the investing fundamentals. Definitely invest. This is where you are able to take your money, take yourself, and improve it for the future so that you can get higher returns. Some really easy ways to invest. Go into some mutual funds, some index funds, put in some money each month. Just forget about that money. You won't get a ton of high returns like some of these day traders might say, but you will get consistent long-term returns with very minimal risk. You can do this through, TFSAs in Canada or lifetime savings accounts in the US, and RSPs for retirement or 401ks. If you guys enjoyed today's podcast, be sure to leave a like. You can catch the full video podcast on YouTube. You can catch the full audio podcast on all platforms, and you can catch daily content on Instagram as well as TikTok, where we would love to get to know more about you guys. Thank you.